Presence, the podcast for everyone interested in bodywork, embodiment, and somatic practices. I'm Andrew Rosenstock, your host and guide on this enlightening journey. With my expertise as a somatic movement therapist, yoga therapist, and certified rolfer, I'll merge clinical insight with real-world experience to enrich our discussions with our guests. Through engaging and informative talks, this podcast delves into mind-body paradigms, offering insights and strategies to empower personal growth. Your support is vital for our grassroots and lo-fi production. If you connect with our content, please leave a positive review and subscribe on your preferred platform. Your engagement helps us reach a broader audience and supports our mission. So thanks for tuning in today to Touching into Presence. Fasten your seatbelt as we embark on a journey to explore the transformative power of contemplative and somatic practices together. It was a pleasure to be in conversation today with Gil Hedley. Since 1995, Gil Hedley, PhD, has been teaching integral anatomy in the dissection laboratory via keynotes and speaking tours online via his extensive website and membership portal, gilhedley.com, and via his YouTube channel, Somanot. He is the producer of the Integral Anatomy series, the Anatomy from A to Z project, and the Nerve project, as well as being the author of several books. He's based at the Institute for Anatomical Research in Colorado Springs, Colorado, where he teaches films and serves as board president. In today's conversation, we explored how Gil's decades of dissection and inquiry into the human form have led him toward a deeply relational, perceptual approach to embodiment. We spoke about the evolution of his work, the ethics of language and somatics, and the importance of curiosity over certainty, especially when teaching or touching the living body. Gil reflected on the metaphorical nature of fascia, the seduction of technique, and the spaces in between structures where life often reveals itself most honestly. We also touched on his recent nerve tour, a unique journey through the oft-overlooked pathways of the nervous system, and how it invited both reverence and humility. Together we explored the interplay between anatomy and awareness, the practitioner as witness rather than fixer, and how real transformation requires not control, but presence. Gil's work reminds us that what we touch isn't just tissue, it's mystery, history, and life unfolding. So with that, let's begin our talk. Hey, Gil.
Hey, Andrew, how are you?
I'm all right. How you doing?
Good.
Good to see you again.
You too.
Yeah. You are the first person, I think, in my whole entire podcasting career that has actually showed up on time.
Really?
Yeah, it's kind of nice.
Yeah, I'm a timely kind of guy.
You're in the lab right now. What are you working on?
I'm working on a beautiful form, long-term project, kind of going into the pelvis and its relationship to the heart center, maybe.
All right. My hope was to maybe, well, I think you and I are both free flow kind of people, but I loved your nerve tour and thought to hopefully maybe hear about it, how it was for you doing it, and maybe also bring in other aspects of things in there. And I know you said in your email you're happy to go with free flow, but is there anything in particular also that you would want to talk about?
No.
Yeah, great.
Whatever comes up.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things I like about you. And it's one of the questions I haven't quite worded, but there's something, and maybe I'll just even start in with this, is one of the things I really appreciate about you is this open-minded introspectiveness. And in our culture, especially, I find a lot in body work and there's massage and Pilates and all these yoga things. There's a very reductionistic view, and you don't really have that, and yet you're very popular, and I love that.
Oh, how can that be?
A little bit. I think how can that be? How is it that Gil has kind of cracked this code in this? And I'm happy that you have, or you continue to crack it. But I find it so interesting because the more and more I get into this world, and I just find so much reductionism, and I find your work is just the opposite about that.
I think reductionism is very very left-brained, and we're in a very left-brained culture and in a ultra left-brain moment in our
Mm-hmm.
left-brain culture. And the left brain loves to just put things in boxes,
Mm-hmm.
and know what they are and have that kind of certainty from memory. Like, oh, I have clues. I look in my environment for clues, or I look in words that I read or words that someone speaks, and when I hear the clue, then I can sort them. Then I can put that idea or that person in a box and feel safe and comfortable that I understand my world. Um, but whoever said the world was comfortable? So, newness and uniqueness is kind of provoking.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, if you're unique, then what box can I put you in, right? Uh, and yet, anatomy it's taught me anything is that we're incredibly unique and variable and so beautiful in that variability. And it's turned me into an appreciator of difference, uh, not as a not as a means to separate, but as a means to see my own differences reflected in other people's differences.
Mm-hmm.
So that we can mirror difference to each other in an appreciative way rather than see difference and separate based on that. So that's what the left brain does. It's a divider and a separator, and I wouldn't want to do without it,
Mm-hmm.
because this is a great tool for navigating the world. Keeps us from, driving on the curb. So you don't want to lack the capacity to discriminate one
Mm-hmm.
thing from another, or one texture from another, or one flavor from another, and even one person from another. You want to know your mommy and your daddy, be all
Mm-hmm.
picked out in a crowd. So we're good at that, but you know
Oh yeah. Yeah.
we're all more than what we can be sorted into.
Yeah, I think, I mean, you've said so much for me in that, and I'll try not to get too nerdy because I always end up going into these non-dualistic raves, but it's what I'm hearing is yes, the, you know, we can be left brain, we can be right brain, and we can hold both, and we can kind of navigate from both and recognize that we don't have to just be one, and that both of them are really, really great, and they both have wonderful attributes and all this stuff. And it's not all just that. It's,
Yeah,
there's so
yeah,
much more. And
yeah.
even
That's so much more. And if we're stuck in our right brain, also, if we
Mhm.
can't appreciate what the left brain brings to the table, we're in trouble too. We'll stop speaking. And speaking is a very social thing. It's part of how we love on each other, right? We connect through words. We can do that as a social animal with a hemispheric differences. But yeah, if you can get them both going at the same time, that's what's really cool. And I was trying
Well,
to invoke, provoke, invite
mhm.
folks into both sides of their brain during the talk. Was my subtle mission. Uh, was
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to go into actually, was about how hearing you speak about that is actually how I kind of, reflecting on your nerve tour. It was incredibly scientific. It was incredibly left brain. Here's the nerve connecting to here. Here is this view. And it was incredibly artistic, and it was incredibly spacious. And it really had both aspects in there, together in this, for me, a very lovely dance.
hmm. Yeah, it's the only dance I know how to do. So I'm stuck with it. I think it's from being a Libra. It's just like you're just always doing the balance thing. Trying to, if you go too
Were
far
you
in one
always?
direction, you got to go the other way.
You always, even as like a child, really balancing both, or you think it came more later?
I don't know. I mean, I was writing poetry in eighth grade, but so was everybody, right? I don't
I
know.
have some of mine. It's horrible. It's really bad. Very
Yeah,
angry.
exactly. Yeah,
um,
yeah. Mine
yeah, every
was
now.
mine was sad. It was in the era of sad female vocalists of the '70s and Cat
Mm.
Stevens, Carole King, and so I was.
Well, mine was in the era of hormone shifting and teenage boy being depressed and angry at parents for being wonderful parents. And
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, so, you know, I look back, I still have a book somewhere of like my seventh grade poetry, and I look back and it just cracks me up. And I'm so looking forward. I told you I'm a new parent, and I
Yeah.
just look forward to my daughter being so angry with me, just to be like, oh, I'm so sorry, Mom. I get it now.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
definitely is a learning moment when your kids come back at you with the exact same shit you served up to them.
yeah. I love you said a word there that's it's really funny because I was chatting with and I don't know if you know Bonnie Gintis, an osteopath, but I was listening to her. She's great. She has a podcast and commenting on one of the things because they had said about not provoking, and I had said actually I think provocation is exactly what we do to help people, and that provocation has a negative association, just like critical has a negative association, but actually provocation to provoke means to bring forth, and that
Mm.
this is what you're doing. We're bringing forth. How else could a shift happen, but without something coming to bring forth and to do that provocation? I think actually really lies in being again in both left and right brain to recognize what's happening and to have this other softer side that can kind of mold. So I appreciate you bringing that up.
Yeah, loving provocation.
Yeah,
Like,
but still provocation.
yeah, still
But
provocation.
yes,
Yeah,
gentle.
the whole universe is set up to provoke us. In other words, the weather keeps changing. It's like no matter,
Mhm,
in other words, we're literally on a spinning planet, spinning in a vortex with a bunch of other planets and a sun through an arm of a galaxy. Like it's dizzying. The whole thing is set up to stir us.
mhm.
Um,
Although I would somewhat say that I don't know if the universe is set up to stir us, but we get stirred by what the universe gives us. But
I'll,
you and I,
I'll take that.
take that. Yeah, I don't have the same theology background, so I might have a different view of the universe and my relation with it.
No,
Um, but
I get you. I hear you.
yeah. So yeah, you did this crazy, amazing, awesome thing, and I don't know if you have actually had decompression talking about it in public and whatnot.
It was intense. I mean, I was just so deeply tired when we
Yeah.
got back from our final loop, and then family was waiting for us when we got back second year in a row where we had because this thing was 15 months going, right? So two Christmases in
Yeah.
a row, we showed up home and family was there waiting for us. We celebrated the holidays together. And then after that, this second time, I had three live streams that I did, which were not
Mm.
small efforts. We had, a lot of administration goes into these things. People sign up and then they are confused and they need to find the link
Hmm.
and blah, blah, blah. So if you have kind of a volume of engagement, it creates volume of admin. And so
Hmm.
when the third one was done and the like, where's my certificate and all that business was over, I was like speechless. I mean, I couldn't do anything for about 2 months. I really,
Mm.
I mean, I kept up with email and stuff, but um, I thought, oh, I'm gonna, January through June, I'm going to edit, the Nerve
Mm.
Project, which I have all this amazing content that way beyond what I included in the Nerve Tour. That's all going to go up on my website, but I still haven't gotten to editing yet because about 2 months into my catatonic recovery period, popping a lot of vitamins and such, just trying to recover my glands and my everything.
Mhm.
And I had gained weight and, all kinds of physical exhaustion.
Mhm.
My brother-in-law passed away, and
Oof.
on his way out, he offered me his body,
Oof.
which I have in the room right now with me. That's what I'm working on. So um, I was like, oh, the universe is not ready for me to pause. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's been wonderful. He's so beautiful, and it's an incredible opportunity for me uh, to learn more and create more to share. So
That, and I mean, just hearing that initially, I think, wow, I thought the relation to the captain was impressive. I cannot even begin to imagine the, I'll say emotional. I don't think that's fully the right word, but this, the connection of having that emotional, not in a bad way, just the affect running through your system when you are working on that in all manners, I think is pretty amazing and a
yeah,
gift in a lot of ways.
it's a huge gift, and it's a meditation
Hmm.
on our mortality, and it's inspiring, really. I mean, you get to thinking about things when someone close to you passes, and when you keep hanging out with them for another few months, you have that much more time to contemplate things. And when he passed away, I was like, oh damn, And I started watching. I binge watched like 6 weeks of YouTube videos on near death experiences.
Mm.
That was really rich. There's a
Yeah.
lot of beautiful stories out there of people whose lives were shifted by these various experiences. And you can't help but think, oh, what's going on for my buddy here if he's on the other side. And
Mm.
so I do have a very rich and complex belief system, and I do believe us to be eternal beings, and we shed bodies. We shed them during our lifetimes, and then the
Mm.
mold breaks and we grow new ones. So
Mm.
I mean, it's hard not to believe in reincarnation when not a single cell in your body exists
Mm.
from several years ago.
Yeah, yeah,
We
yeah.
keep shedding bodies. We do it over and over again. And then just like the Roman coins, they would make them in a mold. And after about 200 coins, the mold was shot and it would break,
Mm.
and um, and they get another mold to produce those coins. And so I kind of look at it that way. I see our bodies. I mean, transmigration also. I love that concept
Mm.
because it's like, wow, we start out as a single celled
Mm.
creature, and then we're a multi-celled creature, and then we're kind of like a tadpole for a little while, and then we
Mm.
get a little fuzzy, and then we start budding, we butt a tail, and then it kind of gets absorbed, and there's this sort of this is in our lifetime.
Yeah,
One
yeah,
of us
yeah.
pass through
Yeah.
these stages in our lifetime, and if anything would ever provoke the conceptualization of the transmigration of the soul, uh, just the recapitulation of our own bodily history in which we've like
Mm.
done time as a as a little creature and such, and so I look at those kind of religious concepts from a biological perspective, and think, oh yeah, I get it.
Well, it makes sense from a energy, not in terms of like new age woo-woo energy, but just force of energy is always transferring kinetic to potential.
Yeah,
It makes sense in a lot of ways. So
yeah,
yeah, you know, yeah. So even you had a few months, you more or less crashed. I mean, that was one of the things I noticed. I thought you were amazing on for a few reasons on the show, but because the way I sort of observed it was you were in your own place before. You were a performer, not in a bad way, but it was you knew what you needed to do to get it done. You came in, and then I remember at the end there was people waiting to talk to you, and you were so gracious, but at the same point had so much to do, and we're balancing both about how to be supportive for the people who want to be there, and also you have shit that you got to do, and
Yeah, I'm the
and
roadie too. Have to break down the
yeah,
set, pack it up, put it
yeah. I
into the
remember
paper.
someone was breaking it down. You were like, "Don't do that. I know where I have my order. It needs to be this sort of way."
Yeah,
Um,
it's hair raising when people start winding up your cords the wrong way, and you know they're not going to fit in the case.
Well, that and you have it like you have a system that works for a way, and if it's just even 2 centimeters off, everything you're now going to spend even more time and more effort
Yeah, when I'm
to.
unpacking it at the next show, I'll be like,
Mm,
"Where's that thing?" Because that literally
mm,
everything has to have its place, and it's not so much because it couldn't fit somewhere else, but it's because where is it tomorrow when you're looking for it
mm,
again? It has to be there. If it's not there, where is it? I had cords all in
mm,
triplicate, I had just in case something happened. But yeah, that whole level of the production was um, it was just another aspect of it. It was a complicated thing for Rachel and I to travel to,
mm,
over 100 cities and be the drivers, the roadies, the
mm,
administrators, the production, the talent, the
mm,
salespeople, the triage, so and we enjoyed that. We're not shy to complex ultramarathonic tasks. Um, and it was amazing to have Rachel with me. When I did my tour in 2017, I was kind of on my own, and that was really crazy when
mm,
there's no one to troubleshoot for you but yourself. And I'd put on the show, and then I'd drive somewhere, and then I would look on my calendar to be my day off, and I'd do 8 or 10 hours of admin. I'd never step outside
mm.
my camper, and I'd eat my sardines and fall asleep and try somewhere else the next day.
How was after that one? How were you in 2 months of catatonic state as well after that one, or?
That one, well, that one was so tiny by
Mm,
comparison. I did like that one. I did I think I did 46 cities.
Still pretty big, especially all by yourself.
Yeah, it was plenty.
Mm,
And when I was done, I think the thing that surprised me most was that I never got bored with the talk.
mm,
I learned the whole time, and that's why I wasn't afraid to do more.
mm,
Because at the end of the last one, I was like, oh, I could keep doing that because it keeps being interesting. I
mm,
keep learning. We learn through repetition.
mm,
And I mean, 46 times or 100 something times is a lot of repetition, but I mean, look at me. I've been doing dissecting human bodies for 31 years, and there's a lot of repetition involved in that, but there's also a lot of surprises. It's constantly surprising. And that's that right brain thing. If in other words, if I was in my left brain all the time, right, and couldn't be surprised by a cadaver anymore, well, I'd be in the wrong business. uh,
mm,
or or I'd be a regional anatomist,
mm,
right? Where you take joy and pride in the mastery of the information that you
mm,
share, and you like doing that. There's nothing wrong with that. It's but for me, the joy comes in the surprises rather than in the mastery of a set of information. If I master it, it's dead as far as I'm concerned. In other words,
yeah,
I killed it.
you,
I turned it into a
we,
dog. Like,
you can't. It's not that you can't learn from the mastery, but it's harder to grow outside of that because the container is already defined by this is what we're mastery of. Whereas with you, there's always learning because the container is more open. There's more space. There's more unknown, which is scary in some way and also invigorating.
Exactly. That's exactly it. It's terrifying and invigorating. It's like a roller coaster. And
Yeah.
I get surprised all the time.
Mhm.
Also, I forget stuff that I already knew, which is awesome because like I look back at like the old videos and stuff. I'm like, oh damn, I used to know that, and I just forgot and learned it again. And so I'm just as excited now as I was then.
Mm. Yeah. So yeah, actually, with that sort of theme about, being excited the whole time, when you were doing it, was I guess a few similar questions, but similar different. What was the talk evolving as well? Was it shifting
Oh
it with
yeah.
it? Yeah, so I mean, I think it's kind of obvious when as I ask it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Because for instance, I'd find out I was whatever teaching something wrong, and I got to fix it, or I get some theme that was exciting to me when I started out, receded with respect to my excitement about some other theme that evolved over the course of it. So I would like say I spontaneously add a story at a given talk, and then I'm excited by that story personally. I can see the engagement of the people I'm speaking with. And so I'm like, oh, let me tell that story again the next time. And then something else has got to go because there's only, so many minutes in a 5 and 15 minute talk. And what if I start stretching it, something's got to go. So
I think there's 300.
yeah, slides came and went, stories came and went.
Yeah, I think there's 315 minutes in a 5 hour, 15-minute talk. That's my left brain for you.
Thank you. Yeah, that's great. And
But
there was probably, my gosh, how many slides were there? There were a lot.
yeah.
So
Were you then also, so I love stand-up comedy because I just find life is absolutely absurd, and so why not laugh, at the absurdity of everything.
oh yeah.
And one of the things comics will sometimes talk about is having to change the act in different cities based around the different cultures, and you're going to numerous different microcultures. Did you like, how was that for you were you planning ahead a little bit, or were you kind of getting into the moment and then meeting the crowds as they were and kind of figuring this lands or this doesn't land?
Yeah, more like that. I mean, I was certainly sensitive to the political volatility in the country while I was traveling through the country,
Mm,
through all parts of the country where folks, may lean one
mm,
way or another. But no matter where you go, there's always some of everybody, whether it's
mhm,
15 or 20 people in a classroom in the lab here, or whether it's 250 people in some city, there's going to be people uh, covering the whole spectrum of thought. And in fact, I start every class that I teach with kind of community rules. And I basically say, it is an absolute certainty that in a room full of people, even as small as this group, someone in this room will hold dear to their heart a belief that's the exact opposite of what
mhm,
you hold most dear to your heart. And it can be on anything. It can be on your rectus femoris, whatever, or
mm,
something about soul or spirit or whatever. I said, so my invitation and my request, and in fact my requirement to everybody is that when you hear something that's the exact opposite of that thing you hold most dear, I ask you to sit with it and allow that person to complete their thought and
mm,
sit on your little tongue's hands,
mm,
listen to what they have to say, because it may either help you to believe more deeply what you believed in the first place. It may shift you a little bit. But remember, even though it's the opposite of what you believe, they hold it very dearly. And you may consider why, what compels them, and not to contradict
mm,
immediately out of your own insecurity and insistence that your belief not be challenged or something like that. And so knowing that in every microcosm that I teach in, and creating that invitation to just allow people to be different, because it's literally what making the wobble of the planet move through space. If we were all the same, we'd be in so much trouble, right?
Yeah.
If
Yeah, I mean,
everyone,
there's a saying that
if everyone was a plumber, who's going to be an electrician? You know what I'm saying? We can't work. If everybody was the creative, fucking nothing would ever get done. You know, you need people who are like spreadsheet people. We need it all. And so make space for it all. And so with that attitude, when I show up in a room full of people, I know they're coming from different perspectives, and I do my very best to speak to everybody, and not to half the room.
yeah, there's that saying that like if you've never seen a normal person, because normal is just an idea of we're all entirely different. Even that normal is an aggregate of everyone, but it's actually no one. We're all sort of different, but we cling again to this reductionist view of this and mine and I wasn't planning to say this, but it comes up, so I'll share it, which is in that same vein. I don't remember where I saw you put a lovely comment somewhere. I don't remember where, and I saw someone else put a comment that said like easy for you a white male to say, and I just remember thinking what a useless comment. I did sit with it to try to understand how and why and you know the wider sort of spectrum, but also what a yes. No matter what he does, he will always sort of be that. What is the point of, you know, can you bring more depth into it? And I don't think I saw you respond in any pro or negative way. I mean, I don't remember where it was, but I'm guessing you sat with it in a very kind way.
Yeah, people are angry, people are insecure, people have knee-jerk responses and haven't, you know, they're in judgment. It's painful to be in judgment. So you can have empathy for a person in pain, even in their judgment, even if it's you that they're judging. I just read a comment from a totally different angle the other day on one of my YouTube videos, which is almost universally loved, on a topic dear to my heart. And yeah, someone on there was like, you didn't say this, and therefore you're whatever. And someone immediately wrote underneath it, like, the dude just said what he said. He didn't say everything. Like, it's a 5-minute video. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then someone else came back and was like, yeah, he didn't say that. And it's like, you know, there's a lot of pain in the world.
Yeah, I've been guilty. I've been guilty.
React to it, you know.
I've been definitely guiltier of it before. And ironically, being off of Facebook for a few weeks, I seem to be less of that. Funny how that is.
Yeah, I hadn't looked at my YouTube channel in about a year. And someone had asked me a question and I was like, oh, I did a couple of videos on that. Let me look them up. And while I was looking them up, I was like, okay, now I got to see what people say underneath them. So
yeah, I think most people with bigger followers have learned to not really look at the comments, because the statistics of finding a really amazing one, it's just so much easier to be angry behind a screen and to be upset. And as you said, that we're in a pretty divisive time, and so people are really upset these days. So
yeah, and so what do you do when someone's upset? When a child is upset, they're irrational. That they may be screaming, they may be crying, they're upset, and sad, they're grieving something. And you love them. You just love them. You give them a hug. You hold space for them. And if you can't hold space for them in person, then you can hold space for them in your consciousness, and just be like a little more generous in how you might take it. Because if you're just going to react to it, then well, you're going to burn your own cells up for that.
yeah, and that's something that being in this work has really taught me about how to. When people come in, I end up working with a lot of trauma now. It just sort of shifted in that way, and people come in really upset, really this, And I sort of say, I can only offer care. Somebody left me a horrible review the other day, which was all like, I wasn't affected. I just felt sad that they're in that much pain and they had to react in that way.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't help. I couldn't do anything, but there was no way I could. So what can I, and my wife said, you should fight her back online. And I said, no, I'm just going to offer love. It's all you can do.
Yeah.
If I fight back, it's just going to keep the anger. You just meet it with love. And if it can't be received right now, that's exactly where we begin with anyways.
Yeah, that's kind of how you bring heaven to earth, right? You just
Mm,
love.
mm, yeah.
Uh,
I love and appreciate you. And I want to just throw this out too. I don't know if you remember this. When you were in Boston, I came up and said hi. And we've talked on
I
your
remember. I
what
remember.
you
'Cause,
remember you yeah.
yeah, we were at that. We were at that the Hibernian Hall. Hibernian Hall. It was like an
Yeah.
Irish club,
Yeah.
which is kind of fitting for Boston, huh?
Very. It was a cool venue, but I was so just amazed because we've met on Zoom once and maybe on some forum thing, but you remembered me. I thought I was just blown away considering you're meeting hundreds of people every day on this tour and you have been for a while.
Thousands,
Thousand. Okay.
thousands
Yeah.
of people. Yeah, it was, and I'm glad I recognize you, and I just have to confess that there were others who I didn't, and like people who took my class that year, who I spent a week in the lab with, and they're like, Gil, and I'm like, oh, because it is hard to so just try and be as kind in my own memory lapses as possible.
I don't think, the human brain wasn't designed to keep, we were designed to live in smaller areas. We knew smaller people. As we started to go more, because I spent so long traveling and I would work in places, I'd work at a place that was 300 people, and then I'd go to another place and there's 300. And sometimes I come back a few years later and, I'm living in areas. I'm the only 6'4" tall white dude. And people remember me very, very well because I'm just different. And I would just forget people. And I remember thinking, why do I forget? And then realizing we don't have that capacity to really remember everyone. And so even when you did remember me and I was not expecting it, I was amazed and wow. And my ego went home skipping saying, oh, Gil remembers me. Yay.
Well, yeah, I hit the mark there.
Yeah. One out of 300 other misses, I'm sure.
Yeah, I had some people friends at that talk too,
Yeah.
who I hadn't seen in a long time. My friends, the Woos, who live in Maine, came to that talk.
I know both of them. And actually,
You know Carol and Keelan, do you?
Carol and I did biodynamic cranial together. And what was funny is I sat down and then I looked to my left and Carol looked to her right and we just started laughing. We didn't see each other when we came in. We sat right next to each other.
Oh, really?
It was hilarious. And
awesome.
then she had said that they were going to have dinner with Leslie, who had also known
Leslie and Lydia. Yeah, Leslie Kamenoff and Lydia.
Yeah. And there was a part of me that was like, oh, I want to be a fly in that wall. Like, people who I know and respect, Keelan is very respected. I'm actually, Carol has, I will at some point maybe have him on as well. I want to chat more about biodynamic osteopathy with him.
Yeah, I had him on Live with Gil. We had it a couple months ago.
Yeah, I saw that. I thought that was great. And it was actually one of the reasons that prompted me to say, oh, I should probably contact him.
Oh, nice. Yeah, but, he's a very warm and smart guy.
He is, and Carol's great. And she was an angel in my biodynamic class. She was just so supportive where I was in my process at that point. So
nice.
It was lovely to see. Even though I didn't go, I took a lot of pleasure knowing that you were going to be having a meal with two couples who did not know each other, but who you had connected with. And I just, in my mind, pictured it being a lovely, fun, organic thing happening. And that was great.
It was. It went well. We all had a lovely time, and the food was even good. So that's always a bonus. Yeah, and Rachel knew Leslie and Lydia, but she'd never met Carol and Keelan. So I was super keen for that little chemistry to be born.
Yeah. That must have been, I'm guessing, one of the nice parts of the trip, even though it was tiring and whatnot, is to, I think sometimes seeing old friends is nice, and sometimes that also you might have been like, I'm exhausted, and I just want to go back to the trailer, and I'd love to see you, but I don't have the resources.
That was sometimes the case, but I would revive myself because it turns out I know people who I know well everywhere. Like
Mhm.
it's like it's not just a couple. I know a crazy amount of people. Like you said, like it's kind of unnatural for the human person to have so many connections. But over the course of this kind of teaching career,
Mhm.
people will come and take my class 8 years in a row or something. I mean, after
Mhm.
8 years, you know about that person. You have a warm connection with them, and then you come across them out in the world, and it's like, oh my gosh, how nice to see you. And then, well, I don't know. I think we went to 46 states, and there's only a couple of them that I don't know some people well. you know.
Mhm.
And then you find, oh my gosh, you're from here. People, come and and then you meet new people too. It was really sweet. I mean, that's kind of it's a rich part of doing this kind of thing, being out on the road like that is just making new friends and so you find those connections that are brand new, but it's um,
Mhm.
an instant good feeling. So there was a lot of that, and yeah, the way I saw it was like I'm spending my life. This is how I'm spending my life. I'm going to spend it. I'm not going
Mhm.
to keep it in my pocket when I'm here to spend it.
Mhm.
That being said, Rachel and I have talked a lot about ways to, improve the sustainability elements that just just drop just drop after the next one. Might do
Well,
fewer cities or maybe like five instead of 100. Something.
yeah, and I mean, I think it was this past weekend you had Stephen Porges on your
Yeah, just what's
yeah,
today? It's Tuesday. Yeah,
today's
it was
Tuesday.
just Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I'm thinking of when you're talking about that, I'm thinking of two aspects of his work. One is social engagement. So you are out there, you're meeting people. It is nourishing. It is exciting. Even when you're tired, it's good. I know some people say if you're an introvert, that's not the case. I'm not really sure about that, but I'll say for the most part, mammals, we're social beings, and so there is that lovely aspect in there, and thinking a bit about how will you do it again next time. Well, how are you overusing your nervous system? How are you overdoing stuff? And how do you, maybe if you have to overdo it, how do you find ways of dropping back into nourishing things that actually allow you to restore, so that when you come back you're finding that balance.
Yeah, yeah, we've talked about like if if we were to do any kind of a tour again, I would absolutely have like a person and a half. Was
Mm.
approximately what it would take to keep up with the emails on the daily. So Rachel and I spent together, you know, each of us simultaneously, we would type as fast as we could for 4 or 5 hours,
Mm.
just to put out fires and stem the flow. And
Yeah.
so if I had someone doing 10 hours of emails a day or two people, right,
Mhm.
then that would ease our burden tremendously.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know if I'll do something like that again. I certainly am not short of things to share and things
Mm.
that I'm looking into more deeply myself, even as we speak here in the lab, trying to fill in the blanks for myself in a way that might be of service to others. But yeah, we'll keep talking about it.
Mhm. Well, one thing I'd suggest as well is on the tour, have mandatory hot spring stops along the way.
Yes. Yeah, more stops along the way. Um, and Rachel, by the way, while doing an obscene amount of work to make the tour go with me,
Mhm.
also ran her whole yoga business the whole year and then some from the camper. She was running 300-hour trainings. She was consulting. She was doing all the things that she does on top of it. And she went a million extra miles, and something that, isn't her main thing. It's like, so she deserves some kind of medal.
Yeah. Let her know. Very grateful for all she did, and I'll speak on behalf of many of the people that don't have their permission to say thank you, Rachel, for all of that, so that we could get to partake in what Gil had to offer. But I guess I should say what you all had to offer, to not make it just about you.
Well, she was very, very aware that it was like my show. She was not the star of this show. She was an actor. She spent 10 years in New York City acting, and she's a teacher herself of international repute, and can command a stage on her own, both as a yoga teacher or as a consultant, as a business person, but also as a singer. She's an opera singer. She or a diva, basically. She can sing anything. She can sing the Disney princess songs and literally crack glass. I mean, she's an incredible person. And so, and she turned down a part in a play locally so that we could be out there on the road, so she really is incredible.
Yeah, that's very nice. And if I think I saw someone moving. I don't know if that was her, but please send her my thanks for.
She went off to an appointment. She was in the room doing another call.
Yeah. So we've got 10, 15 minutes. Is there, and I just appreciate you. I appreciate the way you meet life. And that's for me so much of what a lot of these calls are. They're embodiment, their body work, their SI, whatever related, but they're really, to me, just about how are we meeting life and what can we do to have a more rich life. And I think whatever you're doing, you seem to be doing pretty well with that.
Well, I've crushed a lot of dogmas in my life of myself, whether it was from religious teaching or family upbringing or culture or things I learned in school, or just what, I get a huge value out of having things turned upside down and dissolved. Because like we were kind of talking about that earlier, terrifying and exhilarating. Like not everybody is into change. And it might be just my thing, or the kind of thing of who I'm attracted to, or the people who I hang out with, but I'm definitely into growth. And often growth involves kind of introspectively disassembling yourself, your identities, which after a while, I mean, I'm 61 now, right? And I've had a lot of identities that have kind of come and gone. And it's like, okay, identities come and go. What a thing to contemplate. I used to be whatever, the shortest kid in grammar school. And I grew. Yeah, I wasn't the shortest kid anymore. And then I was always assumed that I was the weakest kid because I was the shortest kid. And then I started lifting weights, and then I was actually pretty surprisingly strong. Now I'm a strong guy, like instead of the littlest guy, now I'm kind of like, I'm a little jacked in high school. and then I was the honor student, but then I kind of got tired of it and I didn't feel like doing my homework or whatever. You change and then you go to the identity of, now I'm a friendly guy. I may not be the smartest guy, but he's pretty friendly, and you go to college and you're so-and-so's boyfriend, or your parents' kid for a while. And none of it. I was a Tai Chi guy in grad school. That was my identity. I was a Tai Chi guy, super Catholic, and I'm not a super Catholic or a Tai Chi guy anymore. So, but still, I'm still saying I am. I still have some essential identity that is underlying all the little hats and jackets and coats we wear, the skins we wear, the belief systems we wear, all these things that we try on. Just whatever you're trying on right now, it's just for a minute, folks. It's not gonna last, and maybe you'll be able to hold on to it till the bitter end, whatever. You might, but maybe not. Maybe it'll go and you'll change some more. And for some people, I think maybe the exercise is not to change, but to see if you can be consistent. Like maybe that's what some folks came here for. To try that. I'm not judging it. I'm just saying that my thing, it turns out, is that change.
Well, I think I'm going to probably misquote. It's one of the laws of thermodynamics, right? Is the only constant is change.
I don't know. Is that I never did a physics class.
Yeah, I was never very good at it. It's one of those laws, and I'll probably get someone will give me a negative feedback later saying you said the wrong thing. But yeah, that's one of the only things the only thing certain is change. And again, to kind of make it left right brain, but a little different for me, the key is to not chase change and not avoid it, but to find where in the spectrum can I be to meet it, to allow it to be met, to allow it to unfold, to not push into it and not run away from it, and just continue to find this balance, which is not, the middle way in Buddhism is not the middle. It's constantly meeting the different forces and finding where is that place where I can meet it. And to me, that is also what we're doing. I mean, our work is a little different, but there's a similar humanity aspect to it. We are meeting things and people and objects and finding, when you're cutting the fascia or the tissue, whatever, you got to meet that middle. If you go too hard or not enough, it doesn't give you what's there.
It's very true. Yeah. So that's the kind of path, huh?
Yeah. I mean, we don't have time for it, but I mean, for me, this is really, I did want to, I wrote all these questions out, and even as I was writing them, I was like, these are just hard. No, they're too obvious. And, and so I love the questions we've had. I mean, one of them, how was it moving through the different regions with this work? And did you notice different responses? But all of them, I was already answering them, and I was like, I want to have questions that are relational. I never loved watching interviews online where it just felt like the questions, no matter if you watched Carson or Letterman or Leno or whoever was a talk show, they just had the same questions. There was no meeting the person. It was, and so I wanted to have some sense. I'm happy with everything we've had. I just hope you're okay, because originally the whole point was to be more about Nerve Tour and Gil and we've just
I'll tell you this thing. Since during the chat with Karen on Derko and Steve Porges on Sunday about their new book Safe and Sound, I was like, oh shoot, I'm going to be talking with a vagus nerve guy. No one knows what a vagus nerve looks like or where to find it. So I put the Nerve Tour recording up on my website in the Explorer membership. That's just a perk, just on Sunday. And so we've been talking around the Nerve Tour throughout this conversation, but just to let folks know, they can watch it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So they can go on your website and go into
if they're Explorer members. So that's the paid membership. It's $15 for a month. If you can cancel the first day and you'll still get your whole month.
And it's completely worth it. I mean, your information is is amazing, which is why you are loved by many around the world. Yeah, I have an issue with some people where I could talk forever. Like I have a feeling you and I could have could sit and talk and do whatever, but also, I don't know. I feel for me, I kind of feel like, well, later I might regret this. For now, I want to soak in what you've shared and offered, and sit with it. But also, you're the guest, and so I'll say, is there?
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, yeah.
How's fatherhood going?
It's
Oh,
it's
happy
very
Father's
weird.
Day. Happy Father's
Oh,
Day.
thank you,
That was your
thank you.
first Father's Day, right?
Yeah, it was very weird. I don't know if I'll share this publicly just because I don't always make myself so public. I might. It was very weird because my wife is in China with our daughter and her grandparents,
Uh-huh.
and I'm in Boston.
Oh,
So
that's a
it's
long way
yeah,
away.
so it's a weird Father's Day because it's my first, and so it hasn't really sunken in. And it's a weird Father's Day because I'm not with my daughter. But I think first Father's Days are I think it like similar like when I was just a dad. I think it's kind of like it's what is this thing? I understand I have a title, but I don't really understand how I fit the role. And then over time you grow into it. I think, next Father's Day will probably be more connection wise, but it's been being a father has been amazing for me as a human. Definitely, I believe, come more compassionate and a
Hmm.
little bit softer and less Bostonian and aggressive. And and man, I'm loving. Like I was saying, I'm looking forward to when she's kind of upset with me just to have the experience. I'm loving. I came home on Sunday because I was visiting friends because we had some construction. We had to get out of the house and I just got home to an empty house and I just started to cry. I was like, I just miss my wife and my daughter, and it was so lovely. It was so lovely to express and to, even though it was uncomfortable, I thought, wow, this is great. I I love my daughter. I just saw like a stupid skit about like typical, it's so great to be a dad. I never knew how much I could love this way. And so I'm trying not to be that, but it's great. When I got married to my wife, I remember thinking, I didn't know love would feel this way per se. I didn't know I'd have this depth. And even more with my daughter, there's, I just want to spend most of my time with her,
Yeah.
and hold her. And now she's learning to move, and it's so fun to watch her move and see how she is and isn't moving. And my own like, oh, but she needs to hit these developmental movements because it's helpful for brain growth, and she's not doing it. And how I'm reacting and how my wife is reacting. It's completely educational.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That is beautiful.
Well, thank
I'm
you.
happy, I'm happy for you. It's a
Thank
it's
you.
a rich experience.
Yes, you have three, I believe, right?
I do. They're all
Yeah.
adults. My kids are big kids.
Yeah, and they helped you and I mean, we saw them on the Nerve tour. They were in videos, I believe.
Yeah, yeah. Every once in a while, I sprinkle in my kids. Uh, I mean, my daughter's 29 now.
Mm, mm,
She'll be 30 shortly, and then they're 29, 27, and 24.
mm.
And I'll tell you, buddy, it goes fast.
This is what people say, but I will have no idea until afterwards.
No, I mean, when they're babies, they
Mm.
change literally. You wake up the next morning and they're different. It's the weirdest thing.
Yeah,
It's like, oh my
yeah.
gosh, they changed again.
My wife's Chinese and I'm American, Eastern European mix. Our daughter looked very, very Chinese when she was born, and now she looks so much like me. It's weird to see how much she looks like me, and we keep saying, "Please change into my wife. Please don't look like Andrew. We do not want another Andrew face in the world. Please be more my beautiful wife."
Oh, be nice, Andrew.
No, I'm amazed at how cute of a girl I was. I had no idea that I would be that.
That's
Well,
awesome.
I'll say quickly before we go. One thing I did love in that same theme about also the Nerve tour was seeing your kids and seeing your family, and so it was, I mean, I really encourage anyone who hasn't seen it to watch it and or watch it again, because it's a beautiful story that's not just about nerves, and there's numerous interarching aspects about humanity in it, and I found it really wonderful. I mean, I don't remember exactly when, but I do remember crying in at least once in maybe when it was when you were talking about the captain. I don't remember exactly, but I do remember laughing and crying. It was just it was all over, and that to me is what a great way to experience life.
Hmm. Well, thank you for receiving it so fully.
Yeah. All right, we're at our time. I have clients. You have your brother-in-law, and or a sandwich. Thanks, Gil. And again, I'm grateful for you. And when you do your next tour, when you come back to Boston, I'm joining dinner.
All right.
All right. Have a good day there, Gil.
You too.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.
Thanks for listening to us at Touching Into Presence. We hope you enjoyed today's conversation. You can find out more about Gil at gilhedley.com. If you enjoyed today's episode, we'd appreciate it if you'd leave a positive review of the podcast and subscribe to it to the platform of your choice. When you do this, it really helps other people find us, and we greatly appreciate your support. We look forward to hearing back from you, seeing you on our next conversation at Touching Into Presence. Bye for now.